Hey there folks, my name is Peter, and on today's video we're talking watch repair. So I've talked about some of the watches that I own on previous videos. Today I'm not here to talk about my watches. Instead, I'm here to talk about this toolkit and how we are going to use it to repair some of the watches for members of my family. Anytime someone comes to me and says, hey, can you help me with this thing? I say, absolutely I can. And I use that as an opportunity to buy new tools. In buying this particular toolkit, I did a little bit of research, and our friend Doc over at Last Best Tool referenced this toolkit. And this is your sort of very entry level into watch repair. They do make a similar kit for $400 from a company, I assume they're Swiss, Bergeron. But this was $25 on Amazon, and I decided, you know, I can't really justify spending $400 to replace a few watch batteries. So I went with this instead. I will have it linked to this kit in the description below if you're so inclined. But like I said, about $25 on Amazon. And it has seemingly everything that you might need to do your own watch maintenance at home. So we open the kit up. We are greeted with the following. This probably tells you how everything works and what it is, but we don't have to worry about that. First things first, this little number is to pry the back off of a watch case. Now, I tried to use this because I cheated a little bit. Before this video, I've actually already used this kit to take these watches apart because I didn't know what sort of batteries I had to buy. So I had to get them apart so I could figure that out, put them back together. Now today we're gonna install the new batteries and do a few other things. But the reason I'm telling you all this is that while this is meant to take case backs off, my experience, this is very thick. And today we're using, or at least we're working on some ladies' watches, and this did not work at all. So if you have a larger watch, men's watch, perhaps this will work. But for me, didn't work. What did work was this little number. So this is also a case back removal tool. And this has got a much more fine point on the end of it, which should allow us, or did allow us rather, to take off the case back. Comes with this nice little protective McGaffer, which we'll put on. We'll go through everything first and then we'll put it to use. Next, they call this a watchband holder. We will actually be making use of this today. It's got a few different, I guess, sizes and orientations so that you can lay the watch on its side as you're fiddling with its bracelet. And in fact, we actually might not use this today, we'll see, but that's what you would use this for. This little number is actually super cool. So you can tighten this, of course. You put your watch face down in here, you tighten this up, and then you can work on the back of it without it moving around on you. And these pieces are adjustable. So for the ladies' watches, I had moved them in closer to the center, but by default, they live a little bit farther out towards the end here. So if you have a bigger watch, you just adjust it, all good there. Next, we have this little screwdriver. Now, to be clear, this feels cheap. They make very high quality watch screwdrivers. In fact, you can get a kit on Amazon, I think I saw was 6 screwdrivers for 50 bucks. But if you're just looking to get by in a pinch, you can certainly use this. It sounds to me like there's more bits inside of here. I'm not going to take it apart because we are not going to need this for today's usage, but yeah, I don't know. I guess if you wanted to use this, you could, but this does not feel as good as like maybe like a Hodo precision screwdriver, or even like the Snap-on electric screwdrivers that I picked up, which would probably be better used here. This just, I don't know. This doesn't feel good in my hand, and it feels kind of cheap, but it is a screwdriver. And it is a precision tip. Next, you have this little hammer. This is super cool. What a little thwacker that is. This is yet another, is this a screwdriver? Okay, no. So what this is the spring bar removal tool. So if you're looking to take the watch band off entirely, you use this little number, and actually I guess we may need to use this today. You stick it in there, maybe I could show you. So it'll be a little hard to see, but where the bracelet meets the case, there are little spring bars in here. So they compress and then they expand once you fit them in here. This tool has a little U-shaped notch on it, and you stick it in to the spring bar to compress it, you pull it out, and then the bracelet separates from the case back. When we do the bracelet shortening, we may need to use that, but if we can get away with not taking the whole bracelet off, that would probably be my preference, so we'll see. We may need to use this. They give you a microfiber. They give you a set of tweezers. They are not the world's best tweezers, but I did make use of them, and we will make use of them again to get the battery back on. This is the tool that you will need to, if you have a bracelet which has little pins in it, I'm not sure if I could show you on this one, but you basically would set your bracelet down in here. You tighten this thing to push the pin out. And then once you've done that, it will separate that link from the remaining bracelet. Again, this feels cheap. There's a lot of slop and play to it. So you are getting what you pay for, but what are you gonna do? Here looks like a collection of both spring bars and pins for the bracelet that I was just referring to. So they give you a little collection of those. And then the last big tool. So now this, if you are taking a case back off of certain watches, oh wow, and as I untighten this, you could just see all sorts of stuff fell out of there. So, and this doesn't feel very good as I'm loosening it. So tread carefully if you are buying this kit specifically because you want this tool. You may be able to buy something that is of a little bit higher quality, and of course it will be more expensive. But on certain case backs, you will widen these so that your case fits in the center, then you tighten them, and then you just turn this like a wrench to get your case back off. We will not need to use this today, but for certain types of men's watches, this is how you would get the case back off. And then there's even other types of case backs, like on my daily driver here on the Rolex Submariner, it has a whole separate tool basically that you need because there's like a million little ridges and they basically make a wrench that will fit that perfectly. All right, so now that we have all the tools on our desk here, let's take a look at the watches. First, we're gonna start with what I'm hoping will be the easier of the two. So this little number is my grandmother's watch. She told me that it is no longer running, thus it needs a new battery. When I took this apart, the battery that I found was a 377. So these things are super tiny, but I got a 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5-pack on Amazon for $8, $9, something like that. So that's our new battery. First things first, we have to get the case back off. So like I said, we're going to come back to this tool. Now, I don't want to take the bracelet off because that just makes it a little bit more work for us, and I don't think that we really need to. But you basically just get this on the side and pry it up, and there you go, pops right off. Now, these do have little O-rings on them. This one looks to be in pretty reasonable condition, so I'm going to leave it alone. On the other watch, it needs a new O-ring, and of course, because you can buy everything on Amazon, I bought some new O-rings. Now, although they sell you, I mean, this pack here, so every single O-ring in here is the same exact thickness. They're all just different sizes. What I wanted was different thicknesses and sizes, but you had to pick your thickness. So I got the smallest one, which is, what is this? 0.5 millimeter. It may still be a little bit too big, but we will see. So once we get our case back off, now we're gonna use our tweezers. And there's this plastic covering over the movement that will take off. And then we'll grab our battery. There we go. All right, so the battery's in the watch, and look at that, the watch is ticking. Repair number 1 finished, and in total, we used 2 of the tools. So we used our case back removal, and we used the tweezers. And now, let's get in to the wife's watch. So my wife picked up this watch at an antique exchange. It's seemingly good quality, but of course, it's not running. It wasn't running when she bought it, and it's a little big. What we are going to attempt to do is get a link removed, get a new battery in it. Let's see if we can figure out the link removal first. So what you can see is this little pin right there, if this will focus for us. Now, if I understand this correctly, what we need to do is push that pin out. Once we do, it will separate from the remainder of the bracelet, and you can see that there's a little arrow, if it'll focus. So, to me, what that suggests is that we need to push, well, that's a good question. Do we push with the arrow or against the arrow? Because the arrow refer to installation or taking it apart. I don't really know. Well, it does seem like it's working a little. I certainly did not expect to need to use this hammer, but I have already managed to bend the piece here on the end, and as best I can tell, they did not give me a replacement, so I guess we'll see. All right, so I did a bit of Googling. The arrows point in the direction that you are supposed to remove the pin. If I hadn't broken this thing, that might work, but since I did, we are using this little MacGyver here, push pin tool, I guess, and this hammer. Now, in the beginning of the video, I said, hey, I didn't think I was gonna need this hammer, but I was wrong. It is sticking out ever so slightly, but it is not sticking out enough for me to grab it. Oh, I think we got it. I mean, it's out very far, as you can see, but I still cannot pull it. Now, my assumption is that when you all watch this video, you're going to be yelling at the screen. You're going to be saying, Peter, what are you doing? And you would be right for doing that, because I don't know what I'm doing. What I do know is that we are going to figure this out. Oh, there we go. Whew. Okay, boy, that is something. While we have this link more or less detached, let us replace the battery, replace the O-ring, then we will come back to finishing this for the watch as you're working on it. Get our case back removal tool. Okay. All right, so there's our case back. Great. This has the same piece there. Battery number 2. Okay, the battery is in. Let's get our cover. Now, the O-ring on this thing, at this point, is completely gone, because when I took this apart to put the battery, or to take the battery out the first time, it basically just disintegrated. Let's try the 20mm gasket, and we'll conduct a binary search, which is to say, if the 20 is too big, we will maybe go down to like a 15. If that's too small, go back up to like an 18 until we find the one that works. And just like that, 20mm, we seemingly got it on the first try. Guess what, folks? That is looking pretty good. So, we got the case back on there. Very tight, brand new O-ring. And of course, with the brand new O-ring now, not that, you know, this is gonna be deep sea diving or anything like that, but washing your hands and whatnot should be a pretty safe bet moving forward. All right. 2 of the 3 tasks are done. We have a battery, we have a new O-ring. Now we just have to get the link off that we started to take off, and then we're gonna put it back together, and then we're gonna have her try it on. All right, folks, so after playing with this for quite a while, I was able to remove a link. Very exciting. This is a different sort of link than I was expecting, which the ones that I they're more like cotter pins, right? So they sort of come up and then they fold back down. So you do have to keep them together as you're pushing, because once they've expanded, in this case, this is basically equal sized throughout, and it's more of like just a friction fit. Now my wife is not here, so I don't know if we have to take out more than just the one link that we already took out. But as I said, the watch is seemingly working. Now that we have a battery in it, it's at least ticking. I don't know how good a time it's gonna keep. Has the new O-ring, and we removed one link. So when she gets here, Mrs. Hayter, folks, will make her, I think, first ever appearance on the channel. We'll see if it fits. If not, we'll take off one more link. All in all, how do I feel about this kit? For $25, I think you could do worse. And of course, I certainly believe that you can do better. Would I buy this kit again? Probably. I ended up using the hammer more than I thought I would. And then these little, basically chisel pieces to pound out the link, as you saw. And that's super cool. I've never seen a hammer like this, but I guess I'm a jeweler now. So anyway, I would buy this kit again, but I would go in eyes wide open, right? If I had to use this any more often than, frankly, once a year, I'm upgrading. And in fact, if word gets out amongst family and friends that, you know, I have this kit, I'm probably gonna upgrade anyway, because, and this just goes back to the philosophy on buying the good tools, right? Can you do what you need to do with this, in this case, $25 kit? Ostensibly, yes. You can accomplish whatever it is that you need to. Did I enjoy any part of this process? No. I mean, this broke immediately. This thing didn't really fit. This thing feels like junk. Luckily, I didn't actually have to use this, even though I thought I was going to need to. The only redeeming part of this whole kit, to me, is the case back removal, and here's the top for it. I thought that this worked pretty well. But nonetheless, you ultimately get what you pay for. If you're gonna do battery replacement, strap modification once a year, perfectly reasonable kit. Anything more than that, I would consider upgrading. I don't have a specific recommendation for you. I'm not necessarily saying you should go from the $25 up to the $400 Bergeron right away, but certainly that's something worth looking at, and that would be considered the sort of snap-on of tools, or watch tools, rather. So let's wait till she gets home, see if it fits her. We'll see what she says. The watch is done, and Mrs. Hayter, folks, just got home. So we are going to present it to her for the very first time. All right, dear, your first appearance on Hey There, folks. Say hello to the subscribers.
Hello.
And here is your watch.
It looks so good. Thank you.
I don't know if the time is still right, but
it's perfect.
That will be $150 for battery, O-ring, and 2-link removal.
Thank you. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next video.
Bye.